Welcome to the deep dive. Have you ever thought about how building financial security is, well, a lot like tending a garden?
Hmm.
It's not just about, throwing seeds out there. It takes real nurturing, patience, and a pretty smart strategy.
Absolutely. And today we're getting to that very idea, drawing from John Soforic's book, The Wealthy Gardener.
Right. We want to pull out the core ideas from his work.
Yeah, think of this as a way to quickly get the essence of Soforic's wisdom.
Mm.
Our goal is really to distill his, let's say, grounded approach to building not just wealth, but, a genuinely flourishing life.
Without getting totally bogged down in detail.
Exactly. Practical insights without the overwhelm.
Okay, so we're going to explore cultivating the right mindset, the practical steps for actually creating wealth,
Planting those seeds.
how to handle challenges, because they always come up.
Oh, they do. The weeds, you could say.
Yeah. And the role of relationships, finding fulfillment, and finally, what it means to leave a real legacy. So, let's get started. This whole wealthy gardener idea, where does that come from?
Well, what's really interesting is Soforic uses this metaphor, the gardener, to represent someone who gets prosperity on a much deeper level than just, bank balances.
Okay.
It's about seeing your whole life, your personal growth, as completely tied into your financial health. It's like,
Yeah.
well, a thriving garden needs good soil, the right environment, right? Our own growth works the same way for our financial potential.
That makes a lot of sense. So it starts internally with your mindset, cultivating this focus on growth and abundance.
Spot on. It means valuing learning, being resilient when things go sideways, and actively looking for and acting on opportunities. Like a gardener, always learning about better ways to help their plants thrive.
So you're constantly improving the soil of your own mind, so to speak.
Exactly. And so Fork really links those inner qualities, skills, knowledge, work ethic directly to financial outcomes. He paints this picture of the gardener tending the plants and their own character simultaneously. These personal traits are the nutrients, basically, for your financial seeds.
Right. Without that personal groundwork, the opportunities might just fizzle out.
They could, yeah. And it's important to remember, his definition of wealth isn't just the money.
Hmm.
It's a much richer thing. Having purpose, making a contribution, feeling genuinely satisfied, like a garden that's not just productive, but also beautiful and life-sustaining.
Okay, so mindset first. Then what about the practical side, the actual planting seeds for the future?
Right, this is where the actions come in. So Fork is very clear. Wealth isn't just luck. It's the result of consistent, intentional practices over time. Like that farmer, season after season.
And one of the first things he talks about is saving, isn't it? Sounds simple, but
It sounds simple, but it's fundamental. He really emphasizes the power of setting aside money regularly, even if it's just small amounts to start. It's about creating that space between earning and spending.
that gap creates the resources, right?
Precisely.
Yeah.
Resources you can then put to work, which leads to investing.
And that's a long game, according to him.
Definitely a long game. He sees investments as seeds that need time and the right conditions to grow. And he talks a lot about compound interest, interest earning interest. It's incredibly powerful over time, but it demands patience.
Like watching a tree grow almost? You need patience and a clear strategy.
And continuous learning about where you're putting your money. It's not set and forget entirely.
So these small, consistent actions, they really add up, like daily watering in the garden.
Exactly. Those everyday habits, budgeting, tracking spending, making informed choices, they seem small, but they compound. That's the key.
And this ties back to mindset again, doesn't it? Believing you can actually make progress.
Absolutely. So Fork argues that having that underlying optimism, that belief in abundance, helps you push through the inevitable bumps in the road. It's like the sunlight for those financial seeds.
Okay, speaking of bumps, life throws curveballs. How does the wealthy gardener handle challenges, those storms you mentioned?
Well, he frames adversity not as a failure, but as a real opportunity for growth. Like a gardener learning to deal with pests or unexpected frost.
So setbacks are learning opportunities.
Essentially, yes. He encourages approaching financial mistakes with curiosity.
Mhm.
Ask,
Hmm.
what went wrong here? How can I learn from this? That process builds a stronger foundation, makes you better at solving problems.
You learn which pest controls work, so to speak.
Exactly. And it builds resilience. Adaptability is also huge here.
Right, like changing your watering schedule if there's a drought.
Precisely. You need to adjust your financial strategies as life changes, as the weather changes. You can't be rigid,
And just keep going. Perseverance.
non-negotiable. You have to stay committed, stay motivated, even when it's tough. He gives examples of people who just wouldn't give up on their financial goals despite major obstacles. It's like tending your garden through a dry spell, trusting the rain will come.
So facing hardship with the right attitude actually makes you stronger, financially and personally.
That's the core idea. Adversity becomes a catalyst for growth, building resilience and wisdom.
Now, this next part felt a bit surprising in a finance context, the focus on relationships.
Right. But Soforic sees them as absolutely vital. He argues your financial journey isn't something you do alone. Your connections are deeply intertwined with your success.
So networking isn't just about finding clients or jobs.
Not just that, it's about building a supportive ecosystem. Meaningful connections provide knowledge, different perspectives, support. He really stresses surrounding yourself with people who inspire you, maybe challenge you.
Like finding mentors.
Definitely. Seeking guidance from those who've been there. Think of it like having diverse plants in your garden that support each other's growth.
And he talks about collaboration too, right? Working together.
Yes, the power of synergy. When people pool resources, skills, ideas towards a shared goal, the potential just explodes. He gives tips on how to build those alliances. Open communication, mutual respect, sharing knowledge freely.
Makes sense.
And then there's this really interesting point about giving back.
To the community, how does that fit with wealth building?
He sees it as enriching true wealth. It goes beyond just personal accumulation. Contributing positively to others brings fulfillment, and it also expands your network in really meaningful ways, connecting you with like-minded people.
So wealth isn't solitary. It involves cultivating relationships, collaborating, even contributing to the wider community.
That's his view. It all creates this fertile ground for growth, both for you and for others.
Okay, so we have the mindset, the actions, handling challenges, building relationships. What about actually enjoying the journey, living a fulfilled life while you're pursuing financial goals?
Ah, yes, a crucial piece. So, Foreck really emphasizes that money alone doesn't bring happiness. You need to balance wealth accumulation with personal fulfillment.
Which means you need to know what fulfillment is for you.
Exactly. That requires some real introspection. What are your core values? What are you passionate about? What are your bigger goals? And then you need to make sure your financial choices actually line up with that.
So your garden produces things you actually value.
Precisely. And he talks about purposeful living, doing things that align with your values, that give you a sense of meaning. Maybe it's starting a business that helps people, or investing ethically. Your financial actions should reflect what matters.
And remembering it's a journey, not just a destination.
Yes. He stresses enjoying the process, celebrating small wins, practicing gratitude, valuing those relationships we talked about. These things matter along the way.
Are there specific strategies he suggests for this?
He mentions setting realistic goals, taking time for regular reflection, like asking, am I still on the right path for me? And building a supportive community, people who cheer you on.
So true success is holistic. It's experiences, values, relationships, not just the bank balance.
That's the heart of it. Pursuing financial independence with fulfillment in mind leads to a genuinely rich life.
Okay, finally, let's talk about legacy. What does Soforic mean by that? It's more than just inheritance, right?
Oh, much more. He defines legacy by the impact you have on your family, your community, future generations. It's about the values you pass on, the lessons, the love.
So it's something you actively build throughout your life.
Yes, intentionally. By strengthening family ties, community connections, he encourages sharing knowledge, mentoring others, passing on what you've learned.
And community engagement plays a role here too.
Definitely. Volunteering, supporting local causes, sharing your skills. These actions create ripples, strengthen the community fabric, and that becomes part of your legacy.
It really challenges the typical view of wealth, doesn't it?
It does. He pushes for a broader definition that includes emotional richness, the fulfillment from strong relationships.
So leaving a legacy is about the story you leave behind, a story of purpose, values, connection.
Beautifully put. That's where true wealth lies, according to Soforic, in the positive impact you have and the values you live by.
Wow. Okay, so wrapping up this deep dive into the wealthy gardener, the big takeaway seems to be this incredibly strong connection between, well, nurturing your finances like a garden and cultivating a genuinely fulfilling life.
Exactly. It's all about mindful action, strong relationships, and focusing on that lasting impact.
So maybe a final thought for everyone listening.
Yeah, perhaps consider this. What kinds of seeds are you planting in your own life right now? Are they financial habits, personal growth goals, investments in relationships?
And how do those align with the kind of legacy you hope to cultivate down the road?
Something to think about.
Definitely some powerful ideas to reflect on. Maybe even check out John Soforic's book if this resonated. Thanks for joining us for this deep dive.